Today I wanted to share with you a garden-themed junk journal that I recently finished putting together. Now, I haven't put any photos or writing or anything inside of it. I just created the cover from some cloth and bound the pages, but I wanted to show you what I used. The outer fabric is Tim Holtz, and this cool little clasp looks neat, but it's really meant for a box, and I see why it was maybe not the best choice, but it still looks cool, so I used it. And I'm not sure yet, but I might do something to cover up these threads here. So my cloth cover is essentially a rectangle folded over the pages, and this pocket here is a fabric that I actually designed and had printed at spoonflower.com. The other piece of lining up above is linen. And here are my pages. This first piece was actually torn out of a new pad of paper. The next is from a textile magazine, and I know I have these dark spaces here, but I intend to put things like photographs over those. And by the way, these are pink dandelions. If you didn't hear me talk about that earlier, I ordered these seeds from Baker Creek, and I'm very excited about that. So flipping through, we have just scraps of scrapbook paper that I had cut for other projects. And I have lots of different shapes. As you can see, this is another scrap of paper. These little tabs of strips of paper on the edges of my pages are kind of cool. It's a really simple technique, essentially just gluing a folded strip over your edge, but it kind of adds a nice dimension and a little more texture and layer to some of your pages. Here's the middle of one of my signatures. Here's the back of that. I might do something else with the spine. I don't know yet. But again, these are papers that were just loose in my paper drawer or tote. This is from a magazine, and I might leave it because it has a nice little gardeny feel. Here's some bits of vellum. I like transparency when I'm layering things. So that was my first signature. I have 5 signatures in this journal, or groups of pages, and they're all a similar size, but the number of pages does vary. A lovely little sheep here. This is a page from an R.H. Shumway seed catalog, and I get one each year, so they make kind of a nice rustic, old-fashioned looking page. Sometimes I do use new papers and materials when I make a junk journal, but I really love that you can literally just use junk or reclaim paper. And again, I can place photos over the pages that are really busy. Again, some more plain paper, which is great for writing, and the vellum, and a bit of calendar from a Molly Makes magazine. And here's a bit of tan cardstock that I drew on. I was experimenting, I didn't like it, but it can go into this lovely junk journal. Some more new paper, and a scrap from another project here. I always like to include a lot of layers in my junk journal, not just in texture of paper, but again, I like to vary the size and shape of the pages. I like to have spaces that I can write or doodle on, but also areas where I might be able to stick in a photograph or a little piece of ephemera. And some of these illustrated pages, I think, make a nice backdrop for that. Got a page from a poetry book, and again, some vellum. I like this large page with the little tab on the edge. And I just love the way this layout looks here. This paper here was actually from a Molly Makes magazine. Some more cardstock, a bit of old magazine, some paper, studio paper, more cardstock that was kind of just loose in my bin. I like heavier textures with lighter textures as well. It's that double-sided Molly Makes paper again. I like this little tab of glitter paper, and in fact, this is something I got from Michaels. It is not glitter, it will not come off, but it has a really beautiful sparkly shimmer just like glitter. And again, that was from Michaels. And to finish, a bit of poetry page. Another pocket made from my beat fabric. And that concludes our tour for today, and hopefully I will do a better job of keeping records this year than I did last year, and will be able to show you the full finished journal this fall.